Did a recent human capital move finally signal that Glanbia Performance Nutrition intends to transform into a functional beverage powerhouse long term that I've been talking about for the last few years? So I'll decode that introductory statement and question a bit later in this content, but on November 6th of 2024, Glanbia updated the public markets by releasing its 2024 third quarter interim management statement. I'll be utilizing that financial information along with notes I took while listening to the earnings conference call and any relevant publicly disclosed information to obviously update you on the recent performance of Glanbia and specifically Glanbia Performance Nutrition, but also utilize everything to provide insights about the global sports and active nutrition markets. So, just some quick financial mumbo jumbo housekeeping for us Americans. These numbers you'll hear throughout the content will be year to date results for 2024. So, 9 months of performance, not three. Moreover, these numbers you'll hear throughout the content will be on year over year comparable percentages. So you won't be hearing revenue numbers in this interim management statement release, and that's because Glanbia is not an American corporation and has different reporting standards for their public markets. You'll also be hearing me provide comparative percentages on a constant currency basis, which just means that the currency fluctuations of this multinational company are stripped out for the ease of comparisons. Okay, enough with those formalities. Let's start with a quick update on the financial data. Over the first 9 months of 2024, Glanbia Group revenues were up 6% year over year. This result was comprised of pricing being down 1.1%, but volume was up 2.6%. Additionally, Glanbia had a positive 1.8% impact from the acquisition of assets during the comparative period and another 2.7% benefit because of an extra 53rd week. For those that might not be too familiar, Glanbia is made up of two divisions. Let's start by covering the slightly larger one, Glanbia Nutritionals, which is currently made up of two subdivisions, US Cheese and Nutritional Solutions. Historically, I haven't spent too much time on the Glanbia Nutritionals division, even though it's obviously extremely important to the overall business, but that has changed quite recently for several reasons. Firstly, Glanbia amended the commercial arrangements associated with the US Cheese joint venture that became effective January 1st of 2024. And under the new commercial terms, in accordance with international accounting standards, Glanbia will now recognize commissions earned on the sale of joint venture products, whereas previously Glanbia recorded the gross value of revenues and corresponding cost of sales on joint venture products sold. So it's basically a revenue and cost of sales recognition and presentation thing, but to be completely honest, for almost all of you, the financial implications aren't contextually impactful to the overall insights provided throughout this content. Secondly, more focus within Glanbia is now being placed on the other subdivision, Nutritional Solutions, which is super relevant to the type of strategic management consulting work that I perform within the functional CPG space. Additionally, Nutritional Solutions has higher margins and stronger alignment within the value add, better nutrition focus of Glanbia. It also made substantial acquisitions over the last 4 years, thus broadening its capabilities to be the ingredients partner of choice for some of the world's leading brands, including its own. And now, lastly, it was just announced that Glanbia is creating a new operating model, separating its Glanbia Nutritionals business into two new segments: health and nutrition and dairy nutrition. The health and nutrition segment will primarily incorporate the premix solutions and flavor platforms. And then the dairy nutrition segment will obviously encompass the portfolio of protein solutions, dairy ingredients, and cheese. The new structure is said to be designed with the intent to further streamline the business, increase focus on end use markets, and to provide greater insight into Glanbia's value drivers and growth opportunities. Glanbia will provide us with more details in early 2025, but expects the new operating model to be implemented next year. But over the first 9 months of 2024, Nutritional Solutions revenue improved by 14.4% year over year, but exactly half of that growth was attributed to the acquisition of assets during the comparative period. The other half of the subdivision's performance was driven by a 5% increase in volume and a 3.1% benefit because of an extra 53rd week, but was partially offset by a 0.9% decline in pricing. The volume growth was driven largely by a strong performance in the premix solutions and protein business. And the price decline was largely the result of lower dairy market pricing, though whey prices have continued to trend up in the back half of this year. But let's move on to the other Glanbia division, Glanbia Performance Nutrition, which is made up of nutritional brands like Optimum Nutrition, among a handful of others. Over the first 9 months of 2024, GPN revenue improved 1.7% year over year, but the positive performance of the brand portfolio resulted because of that extra 53rd week, as pricing declined 4%, more than offsetting the 3.2% volume growth. If we look at this revenue by region, starting with international, that makes up about 36% of the total GPN revenue. The first 9 months of 2024 activity has resulted in revenue increasing 4.7% year over year. The performance within international markets was driven by strong volume growth in the Optimum Nutrition brand across key priority markets, which was supported by increased marketing investment. In terms of the Americas region, which makes up the remaining, I think, approximately 64% of the total GPN revenue, the first 9 months of 2024 activity has resulted in geographical revenue that was mostly flat year over year. And to provide more context around that kind of meh performance thus far in 2024, especially within the largest GPN market of the United States, let's dig a few layers deeper that might help provide more impactful storylines. And we can begin by looking at GPN categorical insights, starting off with what Glanbia was previously calling performance nutrition, but is now just Optimum Nutrition. This change is reminding me of something I jokingly said, I think more than a year or maybe 2 years at this point, in one of my Glanbia quarterly content pieces, stating that the entire Glanbia Performance Nutrition division name should be amended to the Optimum Nutrition Company. And that's because Optimum Nutrition, which GPN has been built around since the very beginning, now accounts for 65% of the total divisional revenue. But over the first 9 months of 2024, Optimum Nutrition grew revenue 6.4% year over year, and the performance nutrition brand's performance was driven by a strong volume increase, but was partially offset by a weakness in pricing. In terms of US market retail consumption growth in tracked channels, Optimum Nutrition was up 1.1% year over the 13-week period ending October 5th of 2024. Transitioning to the next largest share of GPN revenue, the healthy lifestyle brand portfolio makes up 18% and includes ISOPURE, Think, and Amazing Grass. These brands have collectively performed relatively strong over the last several years, and that stayed true during the first 9 months of 2024, with the healthy lifestyle brand portfolio collectively growing revenue 3.5% year over year. In terms of US market retail consumption growth in tracked channels, the healthy lifestyle brand portfolio was up 1.2% over the 13-week period ending October 5th of 2024. And then there was a third GPN product category previously called weight management, but that has kind of disappeared completely as the abysmal recent performance of SlimFast created a situation where it was better to not regularly update outside stakeholders on a mid-single digit share of the total GPN revenue. In fact, if weight management was excluded from the GPN Americas performance, the remaining portion would have seen 5% year over year revenue growth over the first 9 months of 2024. But that being said, SlimFast has now been tossed into kind of a category dubbed other portfolio brands that also includes BSN and will likely only appear in financial documents once or twice annually, if really at all. Yet, the deprioritization of SlimFast does materially impact what I was mentioning in that introductory statement. So let's talk about that human capital move that could trigger more focus being placed on RTD Beverages. Recently, Glanbia hired Monica McGurk as the new president of GPN Americas, whose most recent professional experience was CEO of mainstream brands and North American business units at Tropicana Brands Group. And I'm sure you could guess from that portfolio name, but Tropicana Brands Group, which is a joint venture between PAI Partners and PepsiCo, includes iconic juice brands like Tropicana, Naked, Kavita, and a few others. So needless to say, she understands RTD beverages and honestly through complex distribution models at that. And maybe that hiring decision in a vacuum doesn't mean a whole ton, But now also consider that along with that, before mentioned operating model change at Glanbia Nutritionals, the entire Glanbia organization is beginning a transformation program designed to fund and enable the next phase of growth. According to Glanbia leadership, this transformation program will focus on identifying opportunities to enhance productivity and drive efficiencies across operations, accelerating digital transformation, and ensuring the organization is well positioned to capitalize on future market growth opportunities. Now, there's obviously tons of different directions this transformation program could explore, many of which I might even explore in future Glanbia content pieces. But doesn't it sound like the perfect opportunity to strategically align around GPN becoming a functional beverage powerhouse long term? So let's quickly outline that for this final part of the content. The RTD beverage format accounts for about 8% of the total GPN revenue, and that basically $150 million in 2024 revenue comes from four main products across three different GPN brands. You have a few SlimFast meal replacement protein shake variants, ISOPURE clear whey beverages, and then Optimum Nutrition has a whey protein beverage and energy drink. Out of those options, GPN Americas leadership will more than likely initially prioritize the Optimum Nutrition and ISOPURE protein beverages. And I've talked extensively about both of these in the past, but ISOPURE will be the shiny object growth mention on earnings calls going forward as GPN has overhauled the product's formulation and taste, packaging design, packaging vessel going to plastic tubs and plastic on the RTDs, and then its brand marketing. But solving the Optimum Nutrition protein beverage challenge is what eats away at the souls of Glanbia leadership, past and present. Optimum Nutrition is the leading protein powder brand, yet can't even get competitively within the same galaxy of protein RTD beverage market leaders like Premier Protein. And finally, what probably hurts the most is that Premier Protein is selling well over $1 billion in multi-pack protein RTD beverages within sales channels that don't require a complicated distribution strategy and national DSD partner. And I could keep going on here, but maybe I'll save the deeper strategic details, potential relaunch into energy, categorical expansion into hydration, and if they should do that categorical expansion through M&A or internal R&D for a future content piece. That is after Glanbia publicly mentions that GPN becoming a functional beverage powerhouse long term is a core part of its transformation program. But I hope you enjoyed the first principles thinking that went into my latest YouTube video. If you did, can you do me a favor by hitting that like button? That quick and free action helps YouTube know my content is worth spreading to more people. Also, we're getting really close to reaching my next subscriber goal, and it would be great if you join me on this journey. But to do that, we need to fix the fact that slightly more than 3/4 of you that are watching this video right now are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and that hurts my feelings. Regardless, I want to thank you for giving me some of your attention and time, and I'll see you on the next one.